Yo, is that an Eclipse? Whoa, it is! Hey, what's going on, guys? The Master Grade Eclipse Gundam is here from Mobile Suit Gundam SEED. Eclipse, the new side story manga, looks pretty wild. It's a transforming kit. Let's go ahead and check it out. Alright, so right here on the front of the box, you got some very cool looking box art. And I just wanted to point this out to you guys because I don't know if any of you guys may have noticed this, but Bandai did something kind of clever that they hid right here on the box art. Now, if you know, this name of this Gundam is the Eclipse Gundam, and if you look in the background really carefully, you can see they've put an actual eclipse right there in the background. How interesting is that, guys? I mean, Bandai is really getting interesting with this box art here on this one. But if we go around here onto the side, you got the same thing there on the side of the box. On the bottom of the box, you got this orb mobile suit there. There's the front and back, what it looks like when it's all built up. Got a little bit over here about the gimmicks, different moving parts, things like that, the figure inside of it, and of course, the transformation. This transforms, and it's a very interesting looking transformation, so we'll get into that. You got the frame there, of course, a little bit about the Eclipse Gundam over here on the side. And on the other side of the box, got a little bit here about the markings, beam sabers, your hand options, the display base. So it comes with a display base, that's cool. You got the beam rifles, joint parts, beam shields, and then you got some beam sabers in there, all that. I think I said that already. Anyway, it's also compatible with all of the striker packs, and I believe it's also compatible with the wizard packs from the ZakuAurelius kits as well, so we'll check all that out. If we go ahead and pop open the box, it's a pretty full box, and as you saw, it's a pretty thick, so we got a good amount of parts in here. It's gonna be a pretty substantial master grade. There's our stickers and our base piece. Get into all that here in just a second. First, let's just go ahead and take a look at the manual. There on the front, you got the box art. Here on the back, you got a nice big reference photo of the painted kit. On the front page, on the inside, we got a bunch of information here. This is all in Japanese and in English, so that's some nice background information for those people who, I guess, like probably most people outside of Japan who won't have really easy access to the actual manga storyline. This at least gives you some nice background information on the mobile suit and everything, the story and all that. After that, we just got the parts list and straight on into the construction, which I'm guessing is going to be, pretty standard, but because it's a transforming kit, there's always going to be some tricky parts, so probably just going to make sure you're following along the manual carefully. If we get to the center pages here, we got some more about the story there. Once again, this is all in Japanese and in English, so very nice. There's the transforming gimmick there. Down here, just again about the weaponry and the check it over here with the pilot. We got our color guide over here and a color guide for the seated pilot figure. Does this come with a standing pilot figure? I'm assuming that it does, but I'm not seeing it anywhere on here. Anyway, if we go all the way to the back, after it goes through all the transformation, all that, we get back here to the last page, which is the marking location guide. So we're gonna put all those marking stickers on that. So we do have some foil stickers here with this one. As you can see, it's basically just for the eyes and camera, so pretty straightforward with that. And the marking stickers, if you've built any Master Grade SEED kits, these should look pretty familiar, especially the more recent ones, the Jin, the ZakuAurelius. These are right in line with all those. We got our base pieces here in black. This is BA13. In my personal opinion, this is the best action base that Bandai makes, so very happy to see that. Runner A here is in 4 colors. We got yellow, red, black, and medium gray. Then we've got runner A2, which is a copy of this part of the runner there like that. Then we've got runner B1 and B2, which are just joined here in the middle. You can just pop those apart to separate those. These are just gray frame pieces. Runner C as well, some more medium gray colored frame pieces. These are all new parts for this kit, of course. Runners D1 and D2 are another joined set of runners, and these are so fun to pop apart. I love doing that. These anyway, just some white armor pieces. And the same thing here for runners E1 and E2, just some more white armor pieces. Oh, and let's not forget, we got 2 of those, so get to do another one of those. Runner F1 is some of our pieces here in blue, then runner 2 is a copy of that runner with a couple more additional parts added on. Runner G is going to be our effect parts here in a very bright fluorescent clear green, looks very cool. We got 2 of these. And then we got a couple runners here that are reused from the Master Grade Freedom Gundam version 2.0 for basically some gray frame parts. We've got runner I, and then 2 of this J runner. So obviously there's going to be some leftover parts with this kit that are left over from the Freedom 2.0 frame, but there you go. So there you have it, guys. That is a lot of parts in there, so this is going to be a pretty fun one to get all put together. A very unique design, and so I'm interested to see what it's like in hand. Let me go ahead and get it all built up, and then we'll see what it's like. Before we get into the review, there is 2 things I want to remind you guys of. Number 1 is that I will be giving this kit away to one of you all, so just make sure you keep watching and I'll let you all know how to enter to win this guy. The other one is of the MAVRIKS comic that I talked to you guys about before. And MAVRIKS Origins Volume 1 is a graphic novel project that I'm helping to spread the word on. I talked to you guys before about the GoFundMe page. Now they've also started a Kickstarter page if you guys want to check that out, or if you haven't checked it out at this point yet. It's a futuristic, gritty, sci-fi mecha story where they're at a war and there's pilots that are piloting these mecha suits that are very cool. And of course there's multiple different kinds of suits, like close combat type, sniper type, and all that stuff. So if you guys are fans of just like mecha storylines, and if you're also just a fan of graphic novels, definitely check it out. I'll put some example images up on the screen so you guys can get a look at kind of what the feel of the graphic novel is going to look like. It does look very cool. Now, the link to the Kickstarter page will be down in the video description below. Obviously there's a lot more details than I can go over with you guys here just in this quick little promo, but there's obviously multiple levels of donations with different rewards and things like that. And there's also stretch goals with all sorts of different cool stuff that they're making, like a 3D printed robot, and there's like stickers, patches, magnets, different artwork prints, and some of the options will allow you to choose different artwork for like the cover of it if you choose the level that will give you like the physical book. So it's like I said, guys, there's a ton of different options and rewards, and you should check out the link below to see all the details because there's just a lot on there. But I think it's a really cool project that they're doing. Just personally, I think it looks fantastic, so I'm really looking forward to this coming out for the release of that. And I think there's a lot of really cool stuff in there. If you guys are interested in this kind of thing, it's a really good opportunity for y'all to support some artists who are making something really cool and also get a lot of stuff back. I mean, get a lot of actual value for your supporting them as well. So definitely check it out. Check out the Kickstarter down in the video description below. Thank you all so much for your patience. Thanks for listening. Now let's get on with the review. Alright guys, so here is the kit all built up, and I gotta say a little bit kind of mixed feelings about it, because while I do really love the design, how it's super unique and different and very stylized, a lot of people have been comparing it to a lot of different designs. Honestly, the thing that it most reminds me of is just the Cassie, like the big triangular shoulders, the big spiky bits pointing out every which way. But of course this is a much more slender and sleek design than the massive mess of parts that is the Cassie. But with this kit, I think the best way to display it is definitely going to be up on an action base, so it is really nice that the kit comes with an action base, because just standing, you don't really get like as much of a feel for how cool the design looks. And it is able to stand on its own, even though it's got those super tiny little feet. It's just going to look much better in the air. But what I'm most concerned about is a couple of points where the kit seems a little bit rickety, most notably in the legs and in the shoulders, and those are kind of really important parts, especially when you're going to be moving the kit around and trying out different poses and things. You might have stuff kind of like coming apart on you a little bit, just in the way that it's like trying to transform itself when you're not meaning to transform the kit, that kind of thing. So it's not like parts falling off or anything like that, but it's just things that are going to be kind of a little bit of annoying while you're trying to pose the kit. But we'll get into all that here in just a minute. I just want to mention briefly about the stickers, and then we'll get into the accessories. I didn't put the stickers on the eyes because you actually have a clear plastic part for those, which is very nice. As for the head cameras though, I did use those stickers, one on the front and one on the back, which is kind of like the top of the back. And there's two stickers that go on the cameras for the beam rifles right here. So let's go ahead and check those out. We've got two of these, and the handle can be folded up for when these are in storage, and there's a little tab on the side that will flip out on either the left or the right side, so you can have it on either the left or the right side of the kit. And you see right here on the side skirt, there's that little hole right there where this plugs into for storage. So that works pretty conveniently. And while I'm not normally a fan of like really huge or long side skirts, I think this one definitely does look nice on this particular design. So that can be rifle storage, or you can use this to pull out your beam saber, which is actually stored inside the rifle. So you can't use the beam sabers and the rifles at the same time, but you have two of each, I guess so. These have a beam effect part, which is quite cool looking and very long. So when that's plugged into there, it does look very nice. And I just love the fact that it does have unique beam sabers instead of just our very standard beam sabers, because kind of honestly, like for how many kits that I see coming and going, the standard beam sabers do get a little bit boring, so it is always nice to have something a little bit different. So you've got two of those obviously stored inside the rifles, and again, you just slide that right into place there. Pops in nice and easily. Then you can pop this off the side skirt, fold this handle down, and then there's your beam rifle just like that, which is pretty nice. It's mostly white with just a couple little bits of gray and a little bit of blue down there at the end. Overall, the design is very nicely detailed. Don't really have any seams on it, in that like the seam on this back part is kind of made up as a detail on the kit, and then this front part doesn't have any seams. So that's nice overall. You won't really have much of any seam lines to worry about on this kit in general. You've got two of these shields which plug onto the side of the arm. Here is the mechanism for those, so you can kind of move those around. These also extend out by sliding those parts out. The back part slides out and the front part slides out separately. But those are cool how those extend. And here's how it looks with the beam effect parts added onto there. There's two separate effect parts. You just take off this yellow piece, put those effect parts in, put the yellow piece back on, and that's how those fit into there. It looks very nice. We'll see these on the kit here in just a moment. We've got two different kinds of action-based adapters here, one for the transformed mode and one for just the regular robot mode. And then we've got some just swappable fingers for the hands. You've got closed fists, which I've got there on the kit at the moment. You've got weapon holding hands and open expressive hands like this. Actually, a couple different types of weapon holding hands for the different weapons. And lastly, we have adapters for the different striker packs that you can use with this. As you know, you can use different striker packs by just plugging them straight onto here. Alternatively, you can use these adapter pieces here. So these side bits on the side right there and there, you can pop those out and swap these out for these optional parts here. And you can use different silhouette packs. You can also use different wizard packs from the Gunner ZakuAurelius, like the different ZakuAurelius weapons packs and things you can use on the back of this. Now, most of my kits at the moment are packed for storage, so I won't be able to show you guys many options, but I'll try to find one or two that I can show you guys later on in the review just to see how this looks with a couple different backpacks on there. You do also have a couple of option parts here for the shoulders, so if you wanted to use like the launcher pack or the sword pack from the Perfect Strike Gundam, or like from the Strike Gundam, for example, you can use those on the shoulders of this kit as well, using these adapter pieces instead, which I don't have, so I won't be able to show you guys that, but you guys can get the idea anyway. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the articulation, and then we'll see how it looks transformed before we try out some more different action poses and things like that. For the head, when you're lifting up the head, you're going to find that you're accidentally lifting up the top of the head a lot of times by accident. That's just part of the transformation. Make sure that stays down, but the head looking up is going to be a little bit limited because the back of the head is very long. It's running into this part here on the back of the torso, but it is able to look up pretty high there like that, and then down, obviously no problem with those huge ear wings sticking up in the air like that. The shoulders will move in and out, and that white part there that moves along with the shoulders is actually individually articulated, so you could have the shoulder pointed back and still have this pointed in, or vice versa or whatever. These flaps here on the front and back of the wings move individually. You can also sort of rotate those a little bit. The one on the back is a little bit disappointing in that it's got these big hollow gaps in there. I feel like a lot of people probably wouldn't like that. There's a lot of people who normally complain about that sort of thing. Honestly, it doesn't really bother me too much because it's kind of in the back, but it does feel like a little bit of a missed opportunity to not have just a separate piece there to cover that up. But the shoulder will move up pretty high, allowing you to bring the arm up pretty high. But here, you can see just kind of how the shoulder joint is kind of very weird in its construction. And again, it's part of the transformation, but it's going to make moving this a little bit tricky. You want to be kind of careful with it. And ultimately, you can get the arm up pretty high. And I think I probably could get it up even a little bit more than that here, something like that. There you go. So you can get it like all the way up to the sky like that, which is nice. Then you got rotation there at the top, and the arm is going to basically work pretty much the same because it's pretty much the Freedom 2.0 inner frame here in the arm for the most part, so that will give you a full bend there at the elbow, and the wrist is just on a ball joint, the thumb is on a ball joint, and the fingers are swappable as we saw just a second ago. Getting into the midsection, we do have some nice ab crunch here, forward and back, that's quite nice. And the way that the cockpit hatch opens up is really quite interesting on this. So this whole section here, you kind of have to move these parts out so they're out of the way. This whole part can extend forward like that, and then this part here in the center also opens up, slide that forward like that, and then there's your seated pilot figure up inside there, which is pretty cool, very unique. I guess you don't have to pull the whole chest forward for that, it just kind of seems more cool in my opinion to do that. You could just have it opened up like this, just not as impressive, but it's really cool to pull out the whole chest and then pull out the hatch. Just kind of looks more interesting. Front skirts are pretty standard, but you have some nice detail with like a separate piece up underneath there. Same thing with the side skirts. It's going to be kind of hard to see anything underneath there, but there is some nice dark gray detail piece up underneath there as well. The back skirt doesn't really move too much. It does move a little bit on its own here. And this back flap here is another part of the transformation, but that just folds up there like that. Same thing here on the back. This little flap does kind of move. That just kind of doesn't really do a whole lot, just kind of exposes this vent up there. The hips are the notorious Freedom 2.0 hips, which I have never had a problem with, but you know, you just have to be careful with them. They have a gimmick which will allow you to drop the hip down like that for added articulation, so just want to be a little bit careful with that. If you drop the hip down, you can bring the leg up to about 90 degrees, and then bending here at the knee, you got a nice double knee joint with separation of the thigh armor, which is something we don't see too often. I feel like we haven't seen for last few masquerades that have come out. So when you bend the knee there, that front thigh armor will slide out at the same time, which is cool. And here in the lower leg is where it's kind of tricky, because as you can see, you can see right through there, because this is like kind of a weird triangular shape where things just kind of move around, and this part on the front becomes detached very easily because it's just kind of like lightly clipped onto here. Once it's on there, it's fine, but when you're moving stuff around, it's going to be kind of coming apart on you. So this front part here will move up and down this tiny little foot. The toe bends on that, so you can kind of close this whole section up entirely. This part here on the back of the leg can rotate left and right and also move up and down a little bit. This flap here can also move up and down a little bit there on the back of the leg. So kind of a lot of stuff moves, and it's all just for the transformation. The knee part here is another part that I find just doesn't really stay on very tightly. It's on there, and I feel like it's probably not going to just come off on its own, but it's not the tightest connection, so maybe just put a little bit of glue or something on that if you just want to make sure that you don't lose that piece. So overall, the articulation is very solid, but as you can see, just because of the transformation, the frame is kind of very delicate in places here around the shoulder and then the lower leg and in the hip section. So just make sure you're moving things around very slowly and deliberately. Don't get too quick about it. Don't try to throw it in a pose really quickly and just try bending things all over the place. Just make sure you're bending things slowly and carefully, and if you're feeling any resistance, just back off it or just be a little bit careful with those parts. Alright guys, so here is the kit transformed, and just like everything else about this kit, it's a weird transformation. It's not like super necessarily difficult. I feel like it's just difficult to get everything just exactly right. It's pretty easy to transform in general, but just like getting everything perfectly lined up, it will take you quite a while, and I feel like it's basically kind of on par with the Master Grade Zeta Gundam from what I remember of building that kit. That's one point that I want to make about this kit in general, is that it just reminds me a lot of the Master Grade Zeta Gundam version 2.0. So if there's like anyone out there telling you that they love this kit but just really don't like the Zeta Master Grade 2.0, it's such a mess of a kit, I feel like that's a little bit of a biased oversight there, because for me, in my opinion, they seem very similar basically in that they're both fully transformable, and that transformation works quite well if you do it right, but it does give you some points that you are going to want to be a little bit careful with when transforming the kit or just when messing around with the kit in general. But just one last cool thing that you can do with the transformation of this kit is, of course, adding the different backpacks, which you can do in mobile suit mode. You can also add the different backpacks here in the transformed mode as well, which I think could be pretty cool depending on which backpack you want to put onto it. Now before I give you guys my final thoughts, here is how you can win this kit. Just go down to the comment section below and leave a comment letting me know which obscure mobile suit that you would like to see made as a Master Grade, one that has not been featured in an anime, so one that is either from a manga or just like a side story novel or something, but a mobile suit that has not appeared in any sort of animation before, but one that you would like to see made into a Master Grade. Let me know down in the comment section below. And of course, liking the video, commenting, subscribing, all that's greatly appreciated as well, but not necessarily a requirement for entering in this giveaway. Just it would be nice if you guys would do that as well. But for my final thoughts on the kit, I'll just say it is very unique, and that is definitely, I think, its strongest point in my opinion. It transforms, which is cool. The transformation is nice. The design does feature a good amount of details here and there, but definitely you're going to want to do some panel lining on this kit just to bring them out, as most of the details are on the white sections of the kit. If you don't have those panel lined in, they're just not going to show us nicely. So I would definitely recommend you guys at least get like a panel line pen or something like that. Gray, I would recommend using gray and not black on the white sections, but that's totally up to you. You guys do whatever you want. Fill in some of those details, maybe do a little bit of top coat. Some matte top coat will obviously help to make it look less toy-like, but I don't know, for this particular design, maybe even a gloss coat would actually look kind of nice, just because it's such a weird and out there design. I think going glossy on this could definitely look kind of cool as well. It's not a design that necessarily really screams realism by any means. So other than that, the articulation is nice. The weapon options are cool in that they're very unique. Like I mentioned before, I love the beam sabers on this. The beam rifles are also pretty unique. The fact that they're like joined together is also just a unique feature. The fact that they're joined together is an interesting feature, and the fact that you can plug them onto the side skirts is a nice way to store them and just kind of adds to the overall design as well. So while there are some sections that I think you need to be a little bit cautious with, overall you guys should be very pleased with this if you do end up deciding to get the kit. It's just one of those ones that I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for everyone. It's just if you're a big fan of the design, then definitely check it out. If not, then I think there's other kits that I would recommend more than this. But let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think about the design? What do you think about the kit in general? Is it something that you're looking forward to, or not that much? Do you guys anticipate any possibility that they might make an HG version of this? Now obviously it wouldn't be fully transforming. If it transforms at all, it would be like a parts forming thing. I don't necessarily expect that, but I think it could be kind of cool if they made a smaller 1/44 scale version of this. I wouldn't expect it to be as an RG, but possibly as an HG. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Until next time guys, hope you're all having a great day. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see y'all later. Bye guys.